There you are.
Yeah, so the laptop doesn't work. Does it? Does it
Oh,
flip the camera? No.
yes, you're upside down.
Okay, let me see how it works with the phone.
Well, that's what well, maybe it's good to start with already while you're installing. That's what I love about this series. No, it's like live, so it's not one podcast for all those. Okay, now they're joining live, but for the ones who are watching the replay, it's like not one soundproofed studio. So I don't know what sounds you have around you. I have the ocean and screaming children and maybe sometimes a cat.
I have a McDonald's and a Starbucks and a Tim Hortons, and it's pretty civilized here.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. So thank you so much for joining me, Casper, there
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
from the civilized world there in Canada before jumping again into the wild.
For sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah,
like signal on the mobile network is pretty bad, and here at the back of a Starbucks, pretty good Wi-Fi.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in exchange, I bought my first reusable Starbucks cup.
yeah.
So
Tur
r-
Turning
r-
into a real American. Hey,
yes,
Cristiano. Yeah,
that's what I feel like.
yes,
I'm
yes.
becoming very loud also, like talking like like I talk like the volume is up all the time.
You have to leave your introvert behind a bit.
Oh, then start. I miss him.
Oh, but yeah, where shall we start? No, because I was thinking about like I wrote on Instagram a few days ago. I like really want to do this series about trust and speaking with people who are, I feel, really embrace like the navigated trust on trust philosophy and just have a heart to heart conversation about yeah, what that means and how that works and what it is. And perhaps I thought to start, maybe you could give us the super summary of what your book is about, Walking into Worlds, which you're translating into English right now.
Yes, super short summary of my book. Well,
If there is
it's my
any.
sure. Well, in the end, it's in one word, and it's about being.
Mm,
So if I add a sentence to it, it is how can we move from doing and trying to do good into being where it
mm,
already is good, and you move from that space.
mm,
Um, so it's the end or the conclusion or the output of my search for what I can do for sustainability, and I didn't really find
mm,
anything. And after studying sustainability, I didn't really find anything that I really believe in. Like I thought, like yes, this is really a good idea to do for sustainability, but I also didn't have the words or the story to formulate my own ideas.
mm,
So then I just quit my job and I sat down, and somewhere I knew I had a book in my mind. So there's this thinking without knowing. So your brain already knows it has a book, but it's just not out there yet. And
mm,
so I did my best to just let the words emerge and then read it back to see what I think of it, or that it was really, how do you say it, a pathway into the um story that I believe in when it comes to sustainability.
mm.
Which was like a hard question because it took me 3.5 years of writing and then rewriting and writing and rewriting. And sometimes you have like this nice American vibes in the background. Do you hear them or not? It's
No.
like a oh yeah, it's good. When the microphone works, it's like a big motor gang
Oh, yeah, yeah.
passing by
No.
and really loud motorcycles. But okay, I can ignore them if you can ignore them. Yeah, so there now is a book, and then during the writing of the book, I also remembered an old dream of mine, and that's to visit the old trees and forests of the world.
Mm,
So that's
mm.
what I'm doing now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting now what you say because I think we all want to contribute to sustainability somehow. And for me also, I made the conclusion like, okay, my focus is more on the development of consciousness. and connection, but that actually contributes to sustainability, But I think that making that leap for many people is like, huh? But how do you get there? How do you see that? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, so you have to sort of let go of wanting it to do good, like let go of wanting to contribute to sustainability, and then just let it emerge, and then something comes out that is actually really good for yourself and the world, and moving into this new working together with humans and the planet.
So if you describe, well, that's the summary of the summary then. So your
Yes.
solution is being, let's say, okay. So instead of doing, being. And so what is the what is the way to get into being for you?
Well, lots of things actually. Thinking about context help. So not about what you are doing, but about what kind of context helped me to let go of doing, and then what emerges is being.
Can you give an example of that?
And the context that helped for me is being in nature, playing the drums, dancing, good food, playing with Finn, a dog. Um, and then there are moments that it is just being, and then it feels like a reasonable contribution to the transition or transformation into this new world, where you can move from what emerges instead of trying to manipulate and control what happens.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm researching now also a lot. It's but I think it's also a big leap, like that actually innovation and complexity and creativity emerges from that field of being, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think a lot of cool stuff that we didn't really manage to control or manipulate in the old story are coming when you let go of the old story, like by
Yes.
themselves without effort.
Yes.
But then again, if you try to focus on innovation and creativity or whatever word you use for it, then it is doing again. So it's also, I have like a big hate-love relationship with language, because it's really trying putting something in language that doesn't have language. But it really helps to have language to share it and connect with it and make it
Yes.
broader
Yes.
than just you. So
Yes,
love and hate.
definitely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for me it's like language points to the truth, no, but cannot encapture the truth in its totality.
Yes, that's a nice way of putting it. And therefore, I think poetry is the best use of language there is, because then it's not about the words, but about what's in between the lines.
Yeah, is it? Because I thought, for example, about your book, it was very. Oh yeah, now I hear the Harleys. It
Yeah.
was very like clearly and down to earth written, like these what some maybe find or see as very spiritual concepts and very wollig, like we would say in Dutch, like a lot of stuff around it. It was like very, yes, to the point. Yeah,
Thanks.
very Dutch to me, and I found that,
Yes,
yeah, I
I'm
found that
feeling very Dutch in
very.
Canada also. But like the biggest difference in reactions to my book is this point. So like everybody has a little bit of a different reaction to it because everybody has a different starting point. The biggest difference is like a black of white separation is whether it is accessible, direct and clear, or very inaccessible, vague, and I do not understand it. So it's both, and I think that's the whole point that I'm trying to make is that if you're in the same paradigm, if you're in the same story, in the same dimension, in the same frequency, whatever you want to call it, then the language really resonates with you, and it speaks volumes. So it's a confirmation that why we are friends and we like each other's work and we learn from each other easily. But for other people, it's the exact opposite. And I think that's a proof of the thing that I'm saying. Like if you're in a
Yes,
different paradigm, then
yes,
language and the whole reality is
yes,
something completely different.
yes,
And you see it
yes,
happening in families, in school, and all kinds of places where people just they lose touch with each other.
yes. They cannot find each other. Yes,
No.
yes.
So I think it's good to have these kind of conversations and this kind of books. So I'm happy I wrote it and I put myself through that ordeal. Uh,
Yes.
because now it helps, to reconnect with each other and with reality that we all share. Because we need to find a way together, of course.
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, like you describe, well, I think practically how the society now is built, especially the Western society, with a lot of structures and a lot of safety and a lot of security and a lot of certain ways of doing things, like embodying this whole new way of moving through life is, um, yeah, it asks a lot from us. It asks actually to move into this new shift, no, into this new consciousness, into this new way
Yeah,
of doing.
the way of the warrior, right? You have to find your ground and hold it, but also be open, because otherwise you are just living from your own story again.
Yes.
So
So,
it's a tough one.
because our connection actually came from trust, because your book also is a lot about trust. Can you explain to
Yes.
me? Because it's yeah, it's more between the lines, no? Can you maybe explain to me what kind of role does it play in this new story?
Yeah. So my book has three parts, and the first part is about the systems we trust. So like the big power of people is that we can believe in things that do not exist, and through that we can work together on a very large scale. Like the book of Harari made a wonderful description of it. Um, and so that's the power of people, that we can trust in something that doesn't exist, and then make systems around it that help that idea to have very very big consequences in real life, while all of it is based on something that we imagined.
Hmm.
So
Can you give
countries,
another example? Yeah, like a very
yeah, so
clear example.
countries and money and organizations and even families, they are the essence of it. Like what you think of is your family is mostly something that you imagine as your family. It's not the truth,
Yeah, exactly.
or it's
Or
not the whole
even
truth.
even a name, no? For example, okay,
Yeah, name.
or the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
name. This is the empire or the family. Yes.
Yeah, so then we have symbols, then I call it the soft systems, or symbols and rituals that guide this idea of normal that we share with each other.
Hmm.
So, for example, how do you have lunch? How do you greet each other when you meet each other? What is normal to do at work? Those are all kind of rituals and symbols that guide that. And then there's also a more solid system, and that is based on technology and rules. So, like the roads for traffic, you follow the road, so that it's made easy to go from A to B. So we have this idea that we want to travel, and we make it possible with technology and rituals and symbols to make it safe, to make it happen. And I think that the modern world has made that very central, our imagined
Hmm.
reality. So the countries and economics and politics, they become really, really, really big in our lives. Um, but of course, that needs a reality, something that it is built on. Uh, um, and that has gotten very far in our consciousness, very far in our daily life. Like, where comes food from? What's the quality of the air? How's my relationship with my loved ones? All of these, very real, concrete things have becoming very far away from what
Hmm.
we do, because we put that imagined reality central, and it works very well because it's the power of people. It's what makes us a special, and make it possible to work on really large scales. So the second part of my book is about how to let go of those systems of trust that we have built our modern life on, and to trust life. So trust the things that make our systems of trust possible first. So shift. We still need stories. We still need systems of trust, also in whatever comes next. But we have to put that trust of life central, and reconnect with
Hmm.
it, and
Hmm.
relearn what it feels like.
Hmm.
So that's the second part, and the third part is very similar to your book. It's more about principles, about how to steer and move with this thing that is always outside of your perspective.
Hmm.
Because we've learned to always move with what we see and what we hear from each other, and what we get confirmed like daily on how to move through life. But the reality is the thing that is outside of that perspective. So it's
Yes.
it's quite hard to navigate it. And that's
Yes.
what my third part and your book are very similar to it. So I love
Yes.
having the sneak peek of your book.
Yes. You had a sneak peek of the principles of trust. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and I learned a lot of language and new insights, and yeah, it's great.
Yes. And now forests and trees.
Yeah, so for me that helps
How
as
do
a
they relate? How do they relate to this story?
well, as an introvert. It's for me much more easy to be with um, inanimate things, as we say in English, which is a funny word because it means it has no soul. But if you stay with inanimate things, you recognize quite
Mm,
quickly that there's a lot of soul in inanimate
mm-hmm,
things.
mm-hmm,
Um, and as an introvert, it's a lot easier to connect with these things than it is with people. And I had this experience in Iran with a very old tree that really opened up my mind that trees could be like thousands of years old. Like there's a tree there that's 4,500 years old. And that was a moment that you see reality in a new light, like that everything is the same, but it's different at the same time.
Why?
Uh,
What happened?
uh, just that fact that trees can be that old and that they can live with their surroundings for so long and survive all these things that happen in these thousands of years and really be the guides of humankind's history. Just
Mm-hmm,
what happens in 4,500 years in
mm-hmm.
the human world, and then that tree was there all the time and still alive,
Yeah.
growing, breathing, helping his surroundings to prosper.
Yes.
So I thought that was really cool. So that became my anchor for that opening up your way of doing and seeing things is possible. So when I got stuck at writing, I just sat down and became quiet for it took me quite a few days usually to get in the mode. And then I sat down, I wrote all my questions that I have for my writing and my story. And then I asked them to this feeling of wonder that I had with these
You
old
mean the
trees.
trees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wrote what happened, what came up intuitively in my mind while talking to this feeling of wonder at the old tree.
Mm.
So it doesn't really matter to me whether it's a tree talking back or it's another part of my consciousness or the bigger field, as you also describe it. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful, and it helped me to open up again and continue writing in a more deeper and better level than before it. So the old trees already traveled with me in this journey before I even left. So now I can be with them and learn to become better at this, letting go of my old story and opening up to the present moment. And what really helps, or what is really the ally for this, is doing a ceremony. So having a moment with a beginning, middle, and end,
Mm-hmm.
where you show your reference to the beauty and respect for the life that is in front of you. So that's now my main thread while trekking around, first in Italy, in Europe, and then I thought, no, I really want to go far now. So I shipped my truck to Canada, and for a month, today or
Yes.
tomorrow, I'm here.
Yes. So yeah, for those who don't know, so you're making a journey along the oldest forests and trees, right, of the world. Now, at first it was Europe and beyond, and now it became
Yeah,
the world.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting though, because it's yes, it's actually interacting with the world in a totally new way, perhaps for many people too, no? Like you said, well, there was first we had this big relationship with the imagined world, like we were very good at in modern society, but this is also a sort of the same structure, but in a new way.
yeah, for sure. Or at least that's what I challenge myself on, to open up to what happens and not control it or just expect something and then try to make it happen.
Yes.
It sounded really
And
hard.
and even from the other side, because I know that for many people, who would really like to do something like you're doing now, like, okay, I really have this feeling inside me, no, and I feel it's calling and it's calling and it's calling me, and okay, I have two choices. No, yeah, I can go for it and sometimes leave the world or leave my known world behind, or
Yeah, it
yeah,
can feel really big. Yeah,
I stay in my little safe. cocoon. Um, and I know it's sometimes it's very difficult to make that step because you get a lot of judgments and opinions and ideas from people around you. Did you experience that as well? And how
Well,
do you
mainly
deal with
from
it?
myself, actually. Like
Oh
my
yeah.
biggest
Oh yeah.
enemy was myself, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, all the things you said, that you have all these ideas from society and your loved ones, what you think they expect from you, and they're in your head. So when you think of crazy shit like uh, leaving the Netherlands, leaving everything behind and go and spend a few years with the trees, then all these voices come into mind, like, what are you doing? How are you going to make money? Where are you sleeping? Uh, why is this? Why do you think this is fun? Uh, aren't you going to be lonely?
Mm,
Isn't it using a lot of fuel to do all these
mm,
things? Yeah, it's like pretty endless.
yeah.
Um, so, but I'm pretty shy and careful guy. I don't just jump in it and go totally wild. So I did it step by step. So I first finished my book in my parents' house. So that was already, finishing your book and saying goodbye to your career and professional life for a while. So that was already a big step.
Mm,
Then I had a school bus planned to move into at first. I had a year already intensive contact with the owner. So then I left my house to pick a truck up and just work with him for a few weeks. So I stayed in a camping together with my dog in a little tent, working on the school bus, and then suddenly he disappeared, the owner. So I had no school bus and no home anymore. And so then you make another small step. So okay, let's uh, go take your time to find a new vehicle, and then it just happened. You go step by step,
yes.
and make it small. And I really believe that even after a year, I left home a year ago. Like the biggest part of all of it is leaving, and all the things I was scared of before I started were the least things that were scary while doing
Yeah.
it. So
Yes.
you absolutely have no idea what you're jumping into. You try to predict and prepare yourself, which is all fine, but it's not. Reality is very different.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I see around me as well. It's like making the decision is often the hardest part. Like doing it, living the journey is quite often the easier part, no? But letting
Yeah, yeah.
go all of these thoughts, these ideas is the hard part. So what,
The
for
hardest part
example,
this far is bureaucracy. So it's crossing borders, finding an insurance for my truck, those kind of really administrative, boring stuff.
yes,
That was the hardest, and I had the most downsides on,
yes.
or challenges with, and all the other things I was scared of, that were not a problem at all.
Yeah. So what do you feel, because you've read the principles of trust, for example, my principles, and maybe compared to your own principles,
Yeah.
what is the most important principle for you? What is your most important inner practice, so to say, to be able to commit to this?
Um, I really like the reversal of information, energy, and material. It's following the unknown, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or following the path of least resistance. Yeah, so I was really trained in first starting with the concrete, materialistic, visible thing, and then um, let the energy and information follow it. But the other way around, it makes much more sense, and I like it a lot better. So you first start with your attitude or your mindset and your worldview, and like, okay, how do I want to live? And how can I be truly myself and step into this being?
Mm-hmm.
And what helps me for those things. And then the energy comes, a lot of passion arrives, and you becomes really focused. And then the material things are actually just details.
Yes.
And
Yes,
that can
they
and they change all the time. Like I have a completely different vehicle now than I intended
yeah,
at first.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, and that's the
So
creative
I like that a
field,
lot.
right?
Yeah, of
That
trusting that. Yeah,
and I think that that's also for many people in the whole manifestation, which is of course very hot now, or maybe it has always been like the law of attraction or manifestation, whatever it is. But everybody thinks like, okay, how does that effortless thing then work? But I think it's exactly what you describe, right? Having the intention or the information or the worldview. Then moving with the energy, and then if you're open, if you're staying open, embracing uncertainty, then things, yes, sort of organize itself with a little bit direction from your side, of course, but it there seems to this openness and this ability to stay in uncertainty, that seems key, no, at least
yeah,
to me. Is that for you
yeah.
the
Sure.
same?
So how do you help the people that you help? So you guide people who really want to have this, who already know they have this dream. What do you do for them?
Yeah, well, I cannot do a lot, of course, than staying together in uncertainty.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing, right?
And maybe also my question to you, but like what I see, it's the constant remembrance and presence. So it's the constant remembrance. Oh yeah, who am I in my core? Is there really something to be scared about? Oh no, not really. This brings me into presence. So this brings me into the state of being here now, working what life offers me or takes away from me, and then moving with that. So I think that presence and remembrance, consciousness and connection, that constant movement, that's actually what I do with many people. And for example, I'm now guiding a group into the unfolding of business, and it works the same. These principles, I think, work with travel and with relationships and with business and with organizing papers or organizing family life with children in school. It actually works in all fields.
Yeah, and then it becomes simple again, gladly. Still very
Exactly.
difficult, but it's no
Yes.
longer complicated or fake.
Yes, and it's interesting that you say like the most difficult thing actually of my travel is the bureaucracy, the organizing all these things, and I
Yeah,
think that's in many fields it's the same. If you're
yeah,
if you're doing this practice in business, then oh yeah, the doing is actually easy, but all these annoying practical steps that come with it, that takes most of the time actually.
yeah. And I think what you describe is you help people to come in this dimension or frequency or mindset or a state of being. Yeah, like we don't really have the language for it yet, but that
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
like intention and starting with the right information and energy happens in a certain state of being or field. You have to have this connection. If you just do it in daily
Yes.
life and jump into it, then it doesn't. Then you're just wishing something without an energy behind it. So you help with the things that you're saying. You're
Yes.
helping people to connect with that field by being there
Exactly.
yourself, and you can, in my experience, quite easily find it yourself and help other people to find it in a certain setting, like a retreat or um, a, an online program or a group session where you do a little ceremony or process together. Then people step into it quite soon. What is difficult is maintaining it
Whatever it
when
is.
you're back
Mm-hmm.
in normal life and you're in this system that has all the opposite nudges.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so that's, I think, also the part of bureaucracy that I also step out of
Yes.
this
Yes. Exactly.
field.
Exactly.
Do you hear
Mm-hmm.
me too? Oh, okay, great.
Yes, I hear
What was I saying?
you too. We have a little delay, I think, but we're good.
Yeah, the transatlantic connection. Yeah, but I'm just doing what is necessary for myself. It's not it's not something I think everybody should do. I don't try to encourage people to do what I do. Um, it wasn't a choice. It doesn't feel like I made a decision to do this. It was just necessary and the only option. Same as writing my book. I'm dyslexic and I wrote a book. Doesn't make any sense. But I didn't feel any other choice. It was necessary. And then you do it. I think if there's anything I try to encourage people to do, then it is do what's necessary for yourself. And then we can, if more people move into it, then the system will open up as well. Like if you focus on the system, it's the same energy as the system. It doesn't work, I think.
Yes. So we are connection. We have about 30 seconds delay between question. So I'm just throwing my next question already in the mix. So what is how do you remain, where do you get your sense of saying, maybe practically now on this journey? Sure, many people are curious, okay, how do you do it with money or with practical things, but also within yourself?
Safety. When I started, I had this inverse reaction in my body on things that are dangerous. So when something that was dangerous with the truck or a fin, like in a mountain, on a small road, in between houses, and like a real danger, I was kind of exciting, like, whoo, this is cool. And then when I was with my big truck holding traffic, when I was holding traffic, or I was annoying to other people, clearly, then my heart would start racing, and I would like really have this anxiety in my head, like, oh no, something is wrong, and I should pay attention. Well, of course, it's the opposite, right? When it is danger, you have to use the extra heartbeat and awareness on what's happening, and can I still do this? Is it reasonable to continue on this road? And when it's about just obstructing people for a little while, like usually it's a few seconds, then I'm completely safe. So I really had to tell myself I am safe. It's not bad to be a hindrance to other people. Everything is okay. So I could, move through traffic with my big truck. And when there's real danger, I have to tell myself, now pay attention, this is dangerous. And I think this space for yourself, that you can see what is happening and you can get in touch with your body, and then have this, really this space in your reaction and your consciousness really, really helps if you do something that's completely new for yourself. And the inner safety or the spiritual safety that really comes from spending time in nature and doing ceremony with the trees. So it's really about having this quality time that maybe you could have with a group of people, but then in nature. And how this works is for me also completely new. But for example, I was in the state of Nova Scotia. It's where you enter, where the port is. And then in the north, it's a big cliff at the ocean, and you could drive right up to it. So I parked my truck at the edge of the cliff, overlooking the ocean. And you're supposed to be able to see whales, but I didn't see any because it was also very stormy and light rain. But I had to walk thin because we were trucking for a few hours already. So I had to walk thin, and I saw a little trail going up the hill. So I went up the trail, and actually the wind and the soft rain was actually feeling really good. And so I had a big stride and a beautiful tree. So just saying hello, hello, internally, of course, or well, at least I do it internally. So I woke up, and then I felt these two hands on my back, like pushing me upward, and that contributed to this feeling of going uphill and feeling strong and walking with your dog on this beautiful place. So I decided to follow the hands. So I walked up, and then suddenly I saw a tree that holds all the other trees away with its branches, where usually trees share the space together in like this nice dance. Here, this one holds everybody back, and it was a dead tree. And the moment I saw the tree, the hands were gone. So I thought, okay, this is the spot where I was walking to. And then, you know, you do your things, you do your opening, and you bow, and you say, hi, is it okay to connect? And you let the answers come. And then usually I just decompress my own mind. So lots of thoughts come up and you just rattling about. And then suddenly I just asked, so, okay, what about you? What do you have to say to me? And then all I could hear was run. So I was like, what? Really? And it was getting dark already. So, and it was like the rain and the wind, of course. So suddenly it became a very weird atmosphere. Like, am I really going to run? Because I think a tree told me to run. And then, yeah, well, okay, yeah, the trees are here to lead me. So let's run. So I ran downhill as quickly as I can. And Finn was jumping next to me, like, as a crazy happy puppy he is. And then I was just thinking, like, what am I doing? And is this okay? And is there maybe something wrong with the truck? Or should I run more because, you know, I can exercise more and maybe that feels better. So I just run down. It took like 10 minutes or so. And I was back at the truck and I put Finn back in the truck. I climbed in after it. I closed the door and then it starts pouring rain like crazy. Like it would have soaked me to the bone. So then you're like, oh yeah, thank you trees. I got it. Thanks for saving me again. So that's the kind of the experience when you feel, you know, connected and in flow, and you think you have to make sense of it, but in the end you don't have to make sense of it at all. It's just being. So that's how I make myself sane, being alone with my dog in nature.
Run, Forrest, run. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And safety was one of my biggest fears when I left. The biggest one is actually different, no? But safety was one of my biggest fears, and it's the least scary thing so far. Like I've never felt scared.
Yes.
Like real scared.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we have this programming that it's all very dangerous and hard, but
yes.
It's not at all.
Mm.
But then again, it's all about the space.
Can
right?
speak.
It starts with the space.
Yes. 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 It's all starts with the space, and all starts with the openness, I feel, and yeah, being able to uncertainty or having the possibility of uncertainty is starting with, it gives this space for openness, is the starting point of openness. And I think, yeah, where there is a lot of, yeah, we can gain a lot of that openness.
Yeah, so I think also that's one of the things where you can recognize your state of being from. Like, are you fixed and sure of everything and really confident and, you know, just this dead sure of everything? And you're just trying to convince others to join your concept or idea? Or are you open and experiencing and sharing what you feel and do?
Yes. If we have to make one general conclusion of our conversation, what would that be? Would there be any?
Well, I would say now it's like do what's necessary for yourself to create the space to that you need. So do what's necessary for you to create that space.
Do what is necessary. Exactly. Don't
And that's
do
enough
what you
and a
think
lot.
you have to do. So let go.
Yes.
Let go of what you think you know, maybe, and do what is necessary.
Yes. Nice.
So what's next? Where are you going? Where are you heading?
I'm going now to Montreal to pick up my girlfriend at the airport. So that's my new deep dive. And
then from there?
Risking it all again. Yeah, we'll go west. And following the trees and the old forests and whatever comes on our path. Maybe with a bad connection, but I think it could be cool to close with a little ceremony.
Please. And we make it work, even though we have like 20 seconds delay.
Yeah, just it will only take a few minutes, I think. And there's a big delay, but I hear you well, so we'll manage. Okay, let's do a ceremony for everybody that's looking for the courage to make space for him or herself to enter this state of being. I learned most of it from Frank Heckman, who is doing work for the Embassy of the Earth, helping indigenous people all over the world to deal with the changes in their landscape. So it starts with facing east. So you have to face east. My east is there. Just follow. Make sure you face it with your body as well, wherever east is for you. And looking at east, invite the energy and the presence of east into the ceremony. It's the energy of the sunrise and the new beginnings. Welcome, east. Then move to the south and invite all the energies from the south. It's midday, it's the afternoon, it's doing, it's the energy of action. Welcome south. We move to the west. The energy of letting go of the sunset. Welcome the west. And then move all the way to the north. The energy of the night, of silence, and the field of creativity. Welcome north. And then we look up to Father Sky, the world of ideas and our ancestors. Welcome in our ceremony. And then we look down, touch it if you can, the floor, Mother Earth. Now time for the performance. So then you do something like anything natural to you, where you show a little bit of yourself. A few days with the trees I met, I cited a poem from Mary Oliver that is also in my book. And she writes a lot about being in nature. And it's a poem, it's called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles, repenting. All you have to do is let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain move across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, over the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, high in the clear blue sky, the wild geese are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination. Like the wild geese, screeching over and over again, announcing your place in the family of things. Now, this is a good place for your own prayer. So take a minute to be silent or just to say whatever you want to say.
Well, I would like to share my own intention or prayer. I don't know if we are at the end of the ritual, but that I hope the courage for everybody, which is just another word for heart instead of mind, to, yes, do what's necessary, do what he or she or it feels is necessary to continue, on your unique, authentic journey without looking too much at what others do or what you think you should do, and letting it creatively unfold while maybe being unaware of it, that it's unfolding.
Thank you, Fenja. Let's close it.
Thank you, Cas.
So we move ourselves to
Thank
the
you
east
so
again
much.
to wrap it up. So face the east to close the ceremony. Connect yourself with the east again and show your gratitude, appreciation, your reverence of that energy that was with us for a moment. Thank you, East. Move to the south. Connect ourselves to the south. Thank you, South, for being here with us. Move to the west. Thank you, West. Move to the north. Thank you, North. And Father Sky. Thank you, Father Sky. And Mother Earth. Today it was for you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Casper. I greatly enjoyed it, and I hope maybe in a while we speak again on a new location.
For sure, in a new reality.
With new feeling. Exactly. And thank you so much for today.
You too.
Really
Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. See you soon.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.